Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to dive into something really cool. Um, Google's Notebook LM. Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in information?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you're trying to drink from a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Well, Notebook LM is like having this AI assistant that helps you make sense of it all.
He really does. I mean, it takes note-taking to a whole new level. It's not just about jotting things down anymore. It's like having this AI that reads and analyzes everything for you and then pulls out the important bits.
Okay, so paint a picture for me.
Yeah.
How could someone actually use this? Like, what's a real-world example?
Let's say you're working on this huge project, right?
Yeah.
And you've got articles, you've got research papers, maybe even YouTube videos open in like a million tabs.
With too many tabs.
I know, right? So you feed all of that into Notebook LM, and it becomes this central hub where you can actually ask questions about your research.
So instead of me like frantically searching for that one quote that I swear I saw somewhere, Notebook LM remembers it for me.
Exactly. And it can do even more than that. I mean, it can connect the dots between those sources. It can highlight patterns that maybe you would have missed.
Yeah.
And it just helps you see the bigger picture without all the mental gymnastics.
That's incredible.
Right?
It really is like having a second brain, but like way more organized than my actual brain.
Yeah.
And I've read that you can upload a ton of information into Notebook LM.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It's true. You can upload up to 50 different sources.
Hmm.
And those sources can be massive. We're talking like millions of words,
Wow, that's a lot.
which is a lot of information. It's like having an entire encyclopedia dedicated to your project.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
Yeah.
So for someone who's totally new to this, what's the best way to get started with Notebook LM? Like, where do I even begin?
I always recommend starting with a general everything notebook.
An everything notebook.
Yeah, think of it like a brain dump for all the important information that you use on a regular basis.
Okay.
It could be anything from, key work files to inspirational quotes that you stumble across.
Right.
This way you have a central hub for all the things that you're constantly referencing.
So it's like having this personalized knowledge base. It's always evolving as you learn new things.
Precisely. And then as you dive into more specific projects, you can create dedicated notebooks to keep things organized. It's like having color-coded folders for your brain.
I love that. So if I'm working on, say, like a big research paper, I can have all my articles, my notes, even relevant videos all in one place, and Notebook LM will connect the dots between them.
Exactly. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by all these separate pieces of information, you actually start to see the bigger picture. It's like those moments when you're piecing together a puzzle and then suddenly you can see the whole image.
That's a great analogy. So it's not just about organizing the information, it's about making sense of it in a way that our brains sometimes struggle to do on their own. But what about for those of us who are more visual learners? Can Notebook LM adapt to different learning styles?
Absolutely. And Notebook LM is all about flexibility. So if you're someone who really thrives on visuals, you can actually ask it to create timelines or even mind maps based on your research.
Oh, wow.
Imagine seeing all those complex connections but laid out visually.
Right.
Suddenly it just clicks.
That's so cool. So it's not just about how much information you have, it's about being able to process it in a way that actually makes sense for you.
Exactly. And if you're the kind of person who loves a good list, you can ask Notebook LM to summarize everything in bullet points or even create an outline.
Uh-huh.
It's like having a personalized study guide no matter what you're diving into.
This is blowing my mind. And I know we've talked a lot about research and like big projects, but what about for the creative side of things? Can Notebook LM help with that too?
Absolutely. We're actually seeing writers use Notebook LM to build these incredible worlds for fantasy novels or to keep track of really intricate plots and characters.
Oh.
It's like having a digital writer's room where you can brainstorm with AI.
So instead of having like notebooks scattered everywhere with scribbled ideas,
Mm-hmm.
you can have it all organized and easily searchable in Notebook LM.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Notebook LM can even help you come up with creative prompts or explore different angles for your story.
That's wild. It's like having a brainstorming partner who's always up for a good story session.
And it's not just for writers either. Game developers, screenwriters, even songwriters are finding really innovative ways to use it. If you're someone who really thrives on that creativity, don't be afraid to experiment and see how Notebook LM can enhance your process.
I love that. It's like you bring the creativity and then Notebook LM helps you unlock those ideas and organize them in a way that makes sense.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about augmenting our abilities, not replacing them. And speaking of augmenting our abilities, one of the coolest features of Notebook LM is its audio capabilities.
Oh, yeah. We touched on this a little bit earlier. The audio overviews. Tell us more about those.
Okay, so imagine this. You've uploaded all of your research on, say, the history of jazz music. You can actually have Notebook LM turn that research into an audio discussion between two AI hosts.
Wait, hold on. So it's like having my own personalized podcast episode on any topic I'm researching.
Exactly. It's perfect for auditory learners or
Mhm.
even just for those times when you want to absorb information on the go, maybe while you're on a walk.
That's seriously impressive.
Yeah,
And it really makes you realize just how much potential this technology has to change the way we learn and consume information.
absolutely. And speaking of learning, let's talk about some of the ways Notebook LM can be used in different fields.
Okay, let's get practical. Give us some real-world examples. So we've talked about how Notebook LM can be a game changer for researchers and for creative people. But I'm really curious about its potential in other fields. Like, what else can this thing do?
Well, one area where I see huge potential is in education.
Okay.
Imagine students using Notebook LM to really dive deep into a subject. Instead of just memorizing facts, they could use it to connect different ideas, explore topics from all these different angles.
That's amazing. It's like personalized learning, but on a whole new level.
Exactly. And it can be especially helpful for students who maybe struggle with more traditional teaching methods. They could have this personalized AI tutor to guide them through those complex concepts and provide support that's tailored to their needs.
That could be revolutionary for education. It's like giving every student access to their own personal tutor, regardless of their background or their learning style. What about outside of the classroom, though? Are there any other applications that come to mind?
Definitely. Think about professionals in fields that are constantly changing.
Okay.
Doctors, lawyers, engineers. They could use Notebook LM to stay updated on the latest research breakthroughs, best practices.
So instead of spending hours and hours sifting through journals and reports, they could have Notebook LM do the heavy lifting and then just present them with the key takeaways.
Exactly. It's like having this personalized news feed, but for knowledge and for professional development. It could be incredibly empowering for people who really need to stay ahead of the curve in their field.
It really does seem like the possibilities are kind of endless with this technology,
Yeah.
even for just
Yeah.
personal growth, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's say I want to learn a new language or pick up a new hobby. Could I use Notebook LM for that?
Absolutely. Let's say you want to learn how to play the guitar.
Okay.
You could gather online lessons, sheet music, even videos of your favorite guitarists. Then you feed all of that into Notebook LM, and it could help you create this personalized learning plan based on your goals and your preferences.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal coach who's tailoring everything to your skill level and your interests.
Exactly. It's all about democratizing access to knowledge and making it easier for people to learn and grow in a way that feels natural and exciting. And as AI technology keeps advancing, we can only expect tools like Notebook LM to become even more powerful and even more intuitive.
That's incredibly exciting. It really does feel like we're on the cusp of this new era of learning where AI empowers us to reach our full potential. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, it makes you wonder if a tool like Notebook LM can help us learn and create in ways we never imagined. What does that mean for the future of human ingenuity? What incredible things will we be capable of achieving?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It really is.
And it's one that we'll all be figuring out together as we explore these new frontiers of knowledge and creativity. But one thing's for sure, it's a really exciting time to be a lifelong learner.
It really is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Notebook LM. Until next time, happy learning, everyone.